Sales, especially in these times of pandemics, are moving more and more to online channels. But where should you start if you want to improve your digital presence? With this online sales orientation tool by DataSkill4SMEs, you will find many ways to learn digital skills and scale your business. You will be inspired by communicating with other SMEs and experts that share your needs and have solutions for you. 3 reasons why this online sales orientation tool will save you time. And besides that, it's free. The first reason, there is a lot of information out there, which can be confusing. You need the appropriate platform to guide you with where you need to start. With this priority setting in mind, we will outline the most relevant topics for you. The second reason, hundreds of SMEs throughout Europe confirmed through a survey done by DataSkill4SMEs that digitalizing their business isn't just an option anymore, but a must. The pandemic affected every aspect of life and work. As a result, digital transformation is accelerating and here to stay. We see 2 years of digital changes in 2 months. So start investing in increasing your digital knowledge now. The third reason, until today, you have inspired and motivated your customers and employers through your in-person interactions as sales manager or entrepreneur. But how do you maintain this success also online? With the online sales orientation tool, you will find advice about techniques on how to convey your trust through your online B2B or B2C sales interactions with prospects and customers. These are a few reasons why this tool will help improve your digital presence in the most cost-effective way. To have access to the DataSkill online sales orientation tool and its training resources, please visit the link.
Yes, hello again. Good morning, everybody. My name is Stefan Moritz. I'm the Managing Director of the European Confederation of SME Associations. Should maybe switch off the. Sorry.
Technical challenge.
Yeah, okay. Let's try again. Again, here's the Stefan Moritz. I'm the Managing Director of the European Confederation of SME Associations called European Entrepreneurs. We are a lobby organization, the umbrella organization of 26 national and pan-European confederations and associations representing SMEs, small, medium-sized enterprises all over Europe and beyond. And that means in our case, only voluntarily associated companies, no obligatory membership organizations like chambers, crafts, or industry and commerce chambers are our members. And that means we have 2.1 million enterprises which are definitely interested to be our members, representing 20 million employees all over Europe. This was the reason also to apply for the project DataSkill4SMEs. Our companies lack very often not only the right skills to manage data and digital challenges of nowadays, but they lack also the overview about what is available, what is needed, what can be done, and how it can be done in the most time and cost-effective way. So we applied for this project at the European Union, for the program Erasmus+, together with our national members in Germany, BVMW, Italy, Confapi, and Austria, the Austrian Business Association, ÖGV. Then we run a survey about the digital needs, skills and training needs of our members. And we found out, as the video said before, that the companies definitely must understand better now in this situation, especially now in the pandemics situation, the challenges of online sales, but also other questions like cybersecurity is absolutely on the highest range of priorities, and other issues like customer relationship management and so on. We found out that, of course, our Confederation and our national members, supported, by the way, by the University of Tor Vergata from Rome in Italy, that we, of course, are not professionals in organizing training courses, neither online than offline. Nor offline. We are generalist SME associations, but with the help of an expert, which is here today, Mr. Hugh van Breed, we are able to decide about the priorities, what can be and should be important for our members. So today, with the help of Mr. Hugh van Breed, we would like to introduce you to the most important challenges of online sales and how to grow your business online, which is exactly also the third reason, for example, of the video. And that means how you can translate your sales capacity from live to online. And then, of course, discuss with you also about these challenges and see how you can enroll and participate to our training and information resources that we have made available, and my colleague Giovanna Savic will introduce them at the end of this round. So please, I would like to give now the floor to Hugh van Breed, which will start with the principle at guiding the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Maybe just before going into today's presentation, and I really want to make it as interactive as possible, I do have a poll, first of all, to have an understanding of who's in this call today. So there's a pop-up which will come up now with a poll, and it would be great if you could give, you know, who you are. Are you in the B2B? Do you sell to companies? Are you alone? Do you work alone? Do you work in a company with 50 people? So it would be great if you could give your feedback, and like that, I have a better understanding. We have a better understanding of who's following this session. So I'll give you a few seconds to respond to that. And Lorenzo, do you have an idea how many people have already responded?
At the moment, okay, people are responding right now. We have 5 answers already. Let's give a few more seconds for other people to respond.
Okay, great.
And well, we have 6 now, and maybe I can ask all participants to keep their mic on mute while we continue with our webinar.
Okay. So yeah, just give maybe the results now, Lorenzo. You know,
we still only have 6 answers. Do you want me to share?
Yeah, I would already share like that.
Okay.
Great. Okay, so most people in this call are, or they're working there. There's already a specific structure which they are surrounded with, and then you have people who are in the B2C market, and most of them are in the B2B market. So I'll try and, of course, present with this in mind. So I'll just close this and then go through the presentation. So first of all, as I said, the objective of today is really to provide 3 strategic approaches of how to address, you know, your online businesses. And within these 3 strategic approaches, I've got a few ideas of how you could improve your online business. That's my first objective. The second objective is, of course, I would love to keep it as much interactive as possible. So there'll be still another poll, but I'll also ask a few questions. So the more you interact through chat, the better it is. And if you have any questions, do put it in chat, and we will address them at the end of the session. If you do not agree with something, or you have a mind that comes up, please also put it in the chat, and we will potentially also review them at the end of the session. So my name is Hugh van Breed. I'm the principal of Guiding Progress. So I help small and medium-sized businesses grow their business online. Having worked in sales with various companies of different sizes, you know, proves to be beneficial for the companies with whom I work, as I'm able to help them, you know, embrace and make changes faster, which at the end of the day does help them generate more sales and ultimately be successful in what they're doing. So, of course, before the pandemic, you know, most people had a website. Some of you who are in the B2C market maybe already had a web shop, but the overall interactions through digital means was relatively small. And of course, in February, March to 2020, we were in lockdown and there were no more conferences anymore. There were no more business meetings. We could not go and see our customers face to face. So and also, besides not being able to interact with our customers, also our supply chain. So those who are manufacturing products were really, you know, in a full transition, because how do you manage this optimally? But we still need to continue doing business. So lots of companies were wondering, you know, how can we convert our business from, you know, an in-presence way of selling to a more digital way of working. So at the end of the day, where do you start? But before giving you some insight, as I said, there's three strategic approaches. I just wanted to share a survey that McKinsey did. And why did I looked for a specific survey, but this seemed to be an interesting one, because they've been analyzing, you know, what a company is doing, how, you know, with regard to interacting digitally with their customers. And until May 2018, as you will see on the left-hand side, you know, globally, that was only 20% of the companies, 20% of the people within the companies were interacting digitally. And this really has increased, as you can see here in Europe, we're at 55% today, or no, the study was done in I think in July 2020. So it's a massive increase. And I'm curious to know, you know, where you stand here. So I've got a second poll to ask you all who are in the call today. What is the percentage of interactions, digital interactions, that you're having with your clients? Do you? So I would love to have your input on this. So Lorenzo, it would be great if you could pull up the poll. And you know, there's no right or wrong answer. And in the study, you know, as it was said, in the United States, there are 65% of the companies already interacting digitally. But of course, it's not everyone. People who've got a shop, they still interact face to face, but they might want also to have a web store and so on. So Lorenzo, if there's how many people have already responded to the poll?
We have 7 answers, and we have kept it open for 45 seconds. I think we can get to the minute, and then I'll close it.
Okay, great. Okay, so here, as I said, it's, you know, it's great to have a, you know, as introduced in the introduction, you know, we are here really, or as DataSkill4SMEs is really here to help small and medium-sized businesses grow their business online, and having your input is of course really very beneficial to understand. So yeah, Lorenzo, it would be great if you could share it.
Yes, indeed, we have the results.
So there's about 38, and the majority of the people still have quite a limit. I say between 20 and 40% interactions digitally. So which is comprehensible, you know. We were all having this. So this is really interesting feedback, and then of course we have about 13% who are doing already more than 50%. So I'll just close this poll and then go back to the presentation. So as I was saying, I would like you to see this presentation as a three-way strategic approach to selling online. You've got the accelerated part, and when I say accelerating part is you've been doing business already, and how can you do it even, how can you do it even better? So for example, if you're in the IT services sector, is how can you grow your you have an installed base, and how can you find similar customers in the same region, and so on. The growth rate is, for example, you're taking on a new strategy. So for example, you're in the clothing industry, you have already a shop where you sell your clothes, but through the pandemic, of course, certain of the shops were closed. So how can you were thinking of how can you create a web store? So how can you eventually sell certain items through the web? And then the third part is fix it, so review it. So we will be going through this together, is the three parts of the three strategic areas I have brought up. So often in the accelerating part, it has nothing to do with technology, but really about people. So when we talk about branding, I would be curious to understand, to know what you understand by branding. So it would be great if you in the chat you could add your thoughts about branding, and of course I'll share but my thoughts. But if there's already some people who are willing to share what they understand by branding, and it can be one word, it can be a few words together, that would be great. So I'm curious to see in the chat if anybody is willing to share what they understand through branding. So the way branding should be seen is the way how usually other people see you. That's the way people know you to be, and it's also has often to related to your reputation. So how can you build up your reputation? Often the branding is also, what is the purpose of the company? So often it's very linked together. And when I talk about branding, it's crucial, because in the digital world, it's how can you show your authenticity? You had your authenticity when you saw the people face to face. Is how can you show that authenticity online? And when I see below, you see, the branding is not only need to be done by the CEO or the owner of the company or his direct reports, but I strongly believe it's by everyone in the company. Why? Because that's one way to leverage it. And you can, if everyone has a good understanding of the values of your company, how to promote, first of all, they will feel far more engaged. And there's an interesting book which is from Cal Newport, So Good They Cannot Ignore You. And there's 5 reasons why people are really engaged for companies they work for. And I would like to share them because it really has something to do with the branding part, I believe. It's all about autonomy. It has to be about impact. And the third thing, it's impact. And then there's a third part, which is connection. So if the people understand for whom you work, and you provide them that autonomy to brand, the company, talk openly about the company, that is great, first of all, to attract new employees, but it's also one way to create that visibility. And so you might be wondering, how do you do it? And that's there's the third point that can be done through LinkedIn and so on, but I'll come back to that. The second area, I believe, with selling online, which we all can improve. I used to do my presentation sitting down, and I realized, and in fact today's the first time I'm doing it straight, standing straight. It's one way to, how do you feel better? And I think I've been in some Zoom calls where I feel people could, you know, what is the image that you would like to transmit when you interact with the prospect or the customer you're interacting? Does your background seem professional? You know, what is the sound that you're using? Are you using some sounds which enables you, you know, to be listened even better? And of course, the communication through the web is, yeah, how so you have already your web store is maybe now you're still doing it, you know, you're responding in a specific way to specific questions that they're coming up. You might not have yet a chatbot, but you already respond to in the best possible way. I think communication, as we see the majority of the people in the, or there's quite a lot of people in the session which are from the B2B sector. So I'm not saying you don't, in the B2B sector, it's possible that people do have a web shop, but it's also about how do you find customers online. And I think one of the major parts in the past is when we were trying to set meetings, we would call up people, and the main objective was to have a meeting. We had a meeting 1 hour and try to understand what they were doing and see if there was a match with the services or the products that we had to offer. But of course, when you do it digitally, we need to really keep it short. We need to keep it efficient because people, you know, they have enough, I would say, of this the digital interaction, or not enough, but as we all need to do it, but we need to try and keep it efficient. At least like people don't have the impression they are losing time. So I think it's also crucial that when you set up these Zoom calls, these team meetings call to have a clear agenda, you know, explain who's in the meeting and so on. So maybe a question related to communication. What are the things that bother you maybe the most when you have Zoom calls? You know, please share if you would like to share something about communication, because you know I can go through the different slides, but the more we interact, I can try and then also of course capture your input as we go along through the different slides. Any thoughts on this? And this can put in the chat. So the chat is on if there's an arrow on the right hand side, you can see there's an area where you can put additional input. Okay, so when we talk about win and keep customers, it's all about the customer experience. And you're going to wonder, well, what does this have to say about selling online? And so thank you very much for your, so the ability to be concise and say everything in a short time. I completely agree with what is put in the chat there. So the customer experience, you're being wondering, what does this have to do with selling online and so on? It's all about it. It's at the end of the day, it's all about it. You know, people are going to, first of all, people online nowadays do their shopping, nearly 60–70% is done online, and they will only interact with you as a potential supplier if they have a question related to a specific article. So if you create that bad experience, and I want to give one example here, you know, I have someone who opened a car dealership, a Volvo here in the neighborhood, and I said, yeah, I've got a friend who's got a Volvo. By the way, if you want to have your car serviced, there's one who's just opened here in the corner. The service that was done was just terrible. So the customer experience of my friend who went there with her car just had a terrible bad experience of going to this dealership. First of all, I felt very bad because, you know, I had proposed to my friend to go there, and it was really terribly managed. But what happens is when there's a bad experience, you talk about it far more. So you're not only losing maybe 1 or 2 customers, you might be losing all the ecosystem around that. And in the other way around, if you really talk, if people talk positively about your products, it's just has a great thing. When I'm talking about upselling and cross-selling, okay, when you're an SME, and there's a study out there that about 60, already SMEs do about 60% of their business with existing customers. So 40% is done with new customers. Just take into mind that the cost of acquisition of a customer is really, really expensive. So it comes back to the fact of, you know, try and keep that experience great so that when he comes back, the person who has bought, or the company has bought for you for $1, in fact, will generate $10 throughout the time. So he's not only generating $1, but he will be generating 10x in the future. And I can share those reports to which I found. Additionally, if you are able to keep some customers, you will increase your profitability, I think, by, and I don't have my notes here. I had some notes, but they're not up here. I think it was between 5 and 25. If you lose a customer, you lose some profitability, I think from, it was 25 to 125. That's a huge gap, but a lot of, it's really a big gap. And then how do you win customers is also through LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Now, you might be wondering, how do I acquire customers through LinkedIn if I don't have a paid account and so on? So the way I do it is I send out, I see what type of people I want to reach out to, and I say, hi, John, I see, you know, we've been doing something similar in the past, so we're doing more or less the same thing. What do I do personally? So I provide some service in this area. Would you like to connect? Would you like to connect? It's an open question. And 80% of the times people accept the connection. And once there's a connection, of course, then the second challenge comes as how can you create, you know, some curiosity, and then ultimately, if there's a fit, create a call with them to get to know them. Then there's the growth part. There, it's all about, you know, you're doing great. You've seen in your business plan that the growing part. Now the growth part is, yeah, in your business plan, you had seen we need to invest in certain areas, like have some additional people and invest in digital growth. So when I'm talking about growth here is, let's say, you know, I want to take as an example, one of my customers from which I work. So I worked as a consultant for EcoVadis, which is a French company who provides CSR ratings of the supplies to large corporations. And EcoVadis wanted to get into a new market. So I was living back then in Canada. Most of my professional career was here in Belgium until the end of 2016, but between 2016 and March 2020, I was in Canada. So they had asked me, you know, to analyze the Canadian market. And why am I mentioning this? This is one way of growing it is, do you do everything in-house? Do you outsource certain parts of your business before investing heavily and so on? So that's one way, of course, to increasing, you know, when I say, you know, you reach out to, like, you know, to similar types of customers of your target audience. So you're doing great in Europe, is how can you do great in North America, and how do you do it? Another additional way of growing your market is you have a specific service. Is, as I was saying, you know, one of the major objectives of every company is how can you keep customers? How can you grow? How can you do some upselling and some cross-selling? So if you want to do some upselling, cross-selling, of course, you need to provide some additional services or an additional product. I mean, you will say, I can't, what can I offer more than everyone can? There's always a way to find an additional service and then have everyone aligned. Of course, the bigger the company is, trying to get everybody aligned. Why? Because they need to do the branding, as I said in the previous thing, to grow. The more visibility you have, that's one way of growing. Any input is of course welcome here. Now, for the people who are in the shop, who in the B2C market, you know, I'm not an expert, let's say, in B2C. This said, I did work with Lingo Lux in Canada, who was one of my customers, and Lingo Lux Bespoke was selling clothing to men. So the way they were doing it was always, you know, tailor-made suits for men, shirts, and so on. And of course, is how could he transform his, you know, his way of doing business, where he saw people face to face, of going digitally. So what he did is he created a web store. So he used Shopify, and in an initial phase to sell online, he was taking products, or he was selling items that were easy to sell. So for example, ties, cufflinks, so something which was original, but he was able to generate really revenue. And I was surprised really how great Andrew did, because in a pretty short time, he was able to grow his revenue, let's say, well, was it 100 to 300? So he managed to do it times 3. But he had already started just before the pandemic, so he really did a great job on that. And then when I talk about building trust and so forth, is of course, if you've got an online shop, it's trying to make that possibility to keep it easy, the simplification of doing a transaction. That's the reason you know, you have the Amazons, which are really got a huge market share. Is how can we become the next Amazon, or how can we sell even better online? And I think if you keep the transaction simple, that will be great experience. You will ask them to potentially provide some reviews, if it's possible to provide the reviews on your website or in Google, because if you have in Google reviews, it's great. You know, sometimes I should have customers and ask them, you know, to provide their feedback on Google, because of course then it ranks me also better in Google searches. Any questions, any remarks, any areas which you do not agree? Always please do add them in the chat section. So the fix part, and here it's taking the time to really reflect on what is working and what is not working. And I'm going to take 3 areas which I looked areas which most companies could do better. And the first one is, again, poor customer service. You know, it's just amazing how little it costs to do really great customer service, but how many companies really do a poor job on it. If you go into a restaurant, whatever it is, I really believe some really easy things to do to do that. So for example, you know, I was talking about this Volvo car dealership. So what I went to do is I went to see the Google reviews. They had a far good score than one which was about 10 kilometers further. That's one thing. So the score was worse. And the second thing, they didn't even respond to the negative reviews. So if you have a negative reviews, the minimum is to say to these people, you know, thank you for your message, you know, and provide at least some assistance, because if you can convert an unhappy customer to a happy customer, it's even greater. So how do you respond, you know, to emails, but also how do you respond through telephone? So if you're selling online, you might have some service which does the telephone. You need to empower your team to be able to answer, because they will have the challenging questions. The easy questions that they will be able to find online. It's the challenging questions which will really be asked to the people who are on the front line. If they are confronted, I need to check with my boss and so on. You know, I think we all can do better in that area. The second area is, you know, I worked for Oracle for 12 years, IBM, SAS. So I've sold lots of applications and data analytics to be able to analyze data. And we all say, you know, data is gold. You know, that's the gold of a company, and you need to understand your data. Too much data is not good neither. So what I would suggest, and it's a suggestion, is to try and keep already start analyzing. If you have an online shop, what are the KPIs that are crucial for you to have an understanding of who is your target audience? What are they looking for? Where are they located? What type of products are they using? And it's that analyzing. And if you don't have an online shop, you can also do that analytical part also I'm really surprised that how many companies have that data but have really challenges of getting an understanding of the data. If you understand your data, you are able to plan ahead. And then this brings me to the last point is here it brings a full circle. Once your fiscal year is done, or just before the end of fiscal year, you will do a review. Okay, how did the acceleration part go? What went well? How can I continue doing that acceleration part? Where are the areas which I really need to grow in? What areas do I need to invest in? Because growing often requires investment. And here often, I'll respond to the questions that came up in the so it's also about it requires investment, and small and medium-sized businesses, so me included, I'm a small and medium-sized business, is of course, what do we have? We've got limited amount of time, we've got limited amount of resources, so we need to make choices, but we do need to invest. So even myself, I continue investing because I feel that investment is really well. So if there's some areas where you feel that you're performing not to the standards that you really are looking for, because at the end of the day, you want to be successful, you want to be the best supplier in that area, you want to generate revenue, you want to have happy customers, happy employees, happy partners. So investment is required, and it's to find, in what areas do you need to invest. So that business plan does the 306 view. Okay, where do I want to invest? What's the capital I'm going to put in there? And that brings me, in fact, to something which I feel, DataSkill4SMEs and, have done a great job, because they're providing an online sales orientation course to SMEs throughout Europe. It's free. It's the ability to create a community too. So you not only have the possibility to follow this course, which is free in English, Italian, and German. So you are able to follow these courses, and then it's of course the beginning. So we all can do better, but with your input, we will continue working on it, and we'll continue making it even better. So I would like to hand over the word maybe to Giovanna, who is the project manager of this online sales orientation course. So I would be love to hand over the word to Giovanna. Do you want to? Do I stop the sharing part, Giovanna?
Yes, that would be good. Just before we continue to focus on our solution that we put up together with our consortium for different parts of EU countries, I would like if you could answer the question from our Thomas Lamfalussy, who is also expert and present in our database in DataSkill4SMEs project on the course. So the question is, what kind of tools do you recommend for analyzing the data? So what has been your experience?
It depends where your data is. If your data is stored in a relational database, like SQL or Oracle or DP, whatever database, that's a really important part to know where's the data stored. It could also be stored in Excel. Lots of the data is often stored only in Excel. So if it's in Excel, maybe Excel is a good way to further analyze that data. Now, you know, there's for example, ClickTech or ClickView, and there's another company which is quite easy, which is relatively cheap, where you can also have that data and its drag and drop functionalities. But then you have the more, the more enterprise types of applications like SAS Institute. IBM and Oracle also have solutions in the data analytics. So, and then of course you have the analytics of your web pages. So for example, to be honest, I'm not an expert, but I do sometimes look at Google Analytics personally. I get often a promotion of another one, not Google Analytics, to be able to analyze my data. But for the moment, I'm pretty happy with Google Analytics. So I have a better understanding where they're located and so on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope that answered the question. Then I would like to share my screen.
Yeah, so I'll do the stop sharing.
Thank you. So I would wrap up this presentation with a call for action, actually inviting all of you to, of course, visit our DataSkill4SMEs EU website, where you will find tailor-made solution online sales orientation course, which we put together with a consortium, different business associations with which we work on the project. Just to mention them, BMW from Germany, Confapi, Italy, and OGV from Austria. And that is definitely the reason why you are able to access the course in different languages, Italian and German. So if you go to our website, you will be able to orient yourself or your clients by using very short path, which we, together with Mr. Pratt, organized in 4 sections: strategy, reaching new customers, operations, and online shop from scratch. I will just then go quickly through, and you can explore it. I invite you, but I will not take much time answering each question. I just want to make sure you understand how to attend the course. So you will get definitely the outputs, where we suggest you from where to start. So you will basically get the feedback on each pillar of the online sales orientation course. And you will be able to completely free of charge register for the course. In case you are, of course, visiting for the first time, you will have to go to create new accounts. Then I will just ensure that you understand how to do that. It's basically in few steps. You will fill in the basic info, and then you will receive an email, and you will be able to access the course. Do you know if it's QWERTY or AZERTY, the keyboard? You're not sure.
No, it's not AZERTY.
Okay.
Ah, yeah, it is. It is.
It is AZERTY.
The problem is the numbers. You must maybe write them here upstairs.
Okay. Okay. We have a slight technical.
Do you want me to open it, Giovanna?
Oh, that would be great. Can you then just log in?
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's so helpful. Thank you. So there were two key points which I would like to mention on this call. Depending on where are you, whether you are providing service to clients or you personally want to understand better how to grow your business online, you will be able to access the online sales orientation course, to choose different pillars of course and enroll the course. It is very important to share with you that after each pillar, indeed, you can give us a feedback, and worth mentioning that this is the pilot, first pilot of DataSkills for SMEs, and we would really like better to understand where we can improve, and we are sure that there are rooms for improvement as always. The second key point would be that you can join us. If you are expert on online sales expert, you can join us in our DataSkill4SMEs database. You can write to us and go to our website and go to the news section and see more about how to apply and join us in providing the service. And for you as an expert, this project and this channel, actually the course, would be just one new sales channel.
Anything you want me to share specifically?
Yes, just
Giovanna?
maybe go, if you could please go to a home page so that we just...
Do you see it or not?
Yes, I do. You just go
Okay.
on the home to basically make people aware that they have
Yep. So
courses
strategy.
in different languages.
Ah, you want to go to that part, okay.
Exactly, yeah, in a dashboard.
So
Yes. Exactly. So once you access the course, once you create a new account, you will receive your pass and link how to access the course, and you will be able to access it in either English, German, or Italian. And make sure you give us your feedback. That would be basically it. Now I would like to, we have 7 minutes more. I would like to give floor to our participants and not just to ask questions, but also share their experience on this topic in general. And I would like to thank you for joining us today. We know it's Monday and Monday morning, and still we have a good number of people here with us today. So please feel free then to unmute yourself and show your face and ask questions or share experience. We would be very grateful.
By the way, I see there are also many Italians. Potete anche parlare italiano, possiamo tradurlo in inglese per chi ne ha bisogno, o aussi en français, en espagnol, auf Deutsch, kein Problem.
Bonjour.
Oui, bonjour.
Bon, je pense que la présentation est bonne, surtout que ce n'est pas fait en français, donc il n'y a pas la traduction. Et moi, je suis au Togo et ça m'a intéressé, mais ça m'a un peu gêné. Bon, mais ce n'est pas grave puisque je connais un peu l'anglais. OK. Bon, et maintenant, ma question, c'est ceci. Bon, sur cette plateforme, il y a des gens qui me contactent pour le financement de nos projets. Mais je voudrais savoir si vraiment des gens qui arrivent sur cette plateforme sont des gens crédibles, parce que nous avons peur de traiter avec des... vous connaissez le système en ligne maintenant. Donc, voilà. Donc, si vous me donnez cette confirmation, je saurai comment leur répondre pour les partenariats futurs. Merci beaucoup.
Peut-être moi, je peux répondre. Merci pour votre question. En fait, je pense que tous les jeunes dans la plateforme sont crédibles. Je suis sûre parce que c'est encore... nous sommes juste commencé avec ce projet. Mais en fait, des questions concernent les financièrement, je pense, non, c'est pas notre objectif de ce projet. Mais nous offrons cette course pour vous d'essayer et grandir votre business en fait.
Ok, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, c'est clair.
Merci.
C'est clair.
Okay. Other questions?
Was there any topic that you believe we forgot to mention in the presentation? You know, of course, we could not do everything, you know, with limited amount of time, but was there any topic which you are hoping to know more about in the call? And if so, yes, which topic? You can talk or put it in the chat. That would be great. Thanks.
Or also share your experience if there are any with e-learning platforms in general. That would be kind of a mutual win-win exchange of this webinar. So we would be very pleased to hear your experience as well. And either growing your business online or building a platform, e-learning platform.
Yeah, there are so many Italians, although yesterday evening you were surely went to bed very late, and we are all happy that you could have a party, because then at least England was not winning. But we are ready also to answer your questions in Italian if you want, Signor Bonardi, Signora Lipari, Signor Volpe, Signora Tinirello. Se volete possiamo anche rispondere alle vostre domande in italiano. Okay.
Yes, if there are no questions, then we would like to close this session. I would like to thank to our team and to our expert, Von Pratt, who shared the tips and experiences on how to grow your business online. And I would also like to remind you to call for action one more time to register for the course, to go to our website, DataSkill4SMEs. I will, again, maybe it's good just some of my colleagues, yeah. And we're looking forward to meet you there and read your feedbacks as well.
And of course, if you have questions, we are always ready to answer them, also in written, okay?
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good start in the week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.